coffee.
Right, are we all ready? Good. Right, that's enough silliness already for today, isn't it?
Yes. Shall we
No
just
more
stop
silliness.
it then?
Yes, stop. No more silliness. Finished.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Getting my aggressions out before we even start. All right, hello, welcome. You know the drill. Put a large capital Q in front of your question. Type your question out in full. Don't use three-letter acronyms. They're a pain in the ass. Spell out using words and put a question mark at the end of it. That way, His Lordship Ted, who sees all things, will see them easier, even though he sees all things.
Very good.
Right, go. We're ready.
Are we?
As ready as we're going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, first question then.
Yes.
Is gluconeogenesis a constant function, or will it be overridden by regular exogenous glucose? Thanks.
You're very, very welcome. The process of gluconeogenesis is, to all intents and purposes, most of the time a demand-driven phenomenon. It only becomes a supply-driven phenomenon when you have an overplus of the intake of glucose, or an overplus of the intake of gluconeogenic precursors, such as certain amino acids. Too much protein, in other words. So too much sugar or too much protein. And when I say sugar, I mean all carbohydrates, because they all break down to sugar. Don't they, boys and girls? Yes, they do. So yeah, basically, for the most part, demand-driven, only supply-driven if you do the wrong thing nutritionally, pretty much. Yes.
Very nice.
Good morning, Jonathan. Good to see you. And Nunnis is here, our helper from several weeks ago. Good to see you, mate.
Can you do the Q thing again?
The key thing.
Yeah, what they need to do to
Right,
put the
yes,
question,
let
because
me-
there are several questions coming in now without the question.
All right, so listen up, staff. All staff, pay attention. Right, here it is. If you'd like us to answer your questions, put a capital Q at the beginning of your comment, and then a colon, and then type your question out and suffix the whole thing with a question mark. Okay? That way, Ted, in his royal teddiness, will be able to pass the questions on to Pim so that she can read them out for us and stuff.
Very good. Q, the Q thing.
The Q thing. Q,
Yes,
the Q thing.
that,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the Q thing.
It's the Q thing.
Yes.
Where were we?
Somewhere.
Best way to cook meat.
Well, it depends on what meat you're talking about, and yeah, that's really the answer. It depends what you're talking about. What meat? What's the best way to cook what meat?
So.
And is there a best way to cook meat?
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. Probably not. For what? We have a super chat apparently.
Oh yeah, we like super chats. They keep the lights on.
Yes. Sometimes.
Yeah.
When we don't have power.
When we don't have power outage, yes. Like we had, there was a cloud burst and some lightning, and that obviously took out a transformer. And that was middle of the afternoon, and we had to wait till 10 o'clock to get power back on.
Shall we just read this super chat then?
Yes.
Why are cow farts magically worse for the plant than vegan farts? Of course, I'm kidding. The whole idea is ridiculous.
Indeed, it is absolutely ridiculous. And actually, it's not cows farting that they are suggesting is the problem, it's cows burping. They burp out an amount of methane, which is claimed to be a powerful greenhouse gas. The only problem with that theory being it's only correct at the micro level in a reductionist way. In actual fact, the amount of methane being released by cows cannot possibly have any meaningful effect over the situation that we find ourselves in, really. It is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and unscientific in the extreme. Yeah.
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 What's that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any dangers that could come from the consumption of farm-raised salmon? I have heard lots of bad things about it lately.
I have heard that the quality of feed that farmed fish get is not great, and the fatty acid profiles are not great, and the flesh is full of all sorts of toxins and things. I don't know whether it's true or not. It it would seem to me that fish farming is probably apt and rife to be done in a way that's not so good. I would probably go with wild caught if you possibly can, just on principle, if nothing else.
Yes.
Free-ranging fish.
I would probably tend to believe most of it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. How to reduce deuterium without consuming deuterium-depleted water?
Well, you could go on a dry fast for 72 hours. That would do it. You could consume foods known to be deuterium depleted, i.e. meat and animal fat. What else? You could ask Harry.
Obviously put as little deuterium in as possible.
Yes.
So not... What are you doing, the kid?
She's wiggling.
Why do you want to sit up on my knee?
Ooh. Poor Fluffy.
Where was I?
Taking in less deuterium.
Taking in less deuterium, so definitely avoid most carbs, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
You know you're in the way. For my arm.
Oh. Come and see Daddy. Hey. Hello. Oh yes, Professor Fluffy.
Is this a teaching session?
Yes.
If you like.
If you like. It's also a question answering session. We'll also try to be somewhat amusing and entertaining at various points if we can.
But we're just boring as fuck.
Yeah, but it's just a normal Sunday morning here, isn't it, Fluffy? Yes, it is. Maybe it's a dog adoration session too.
Maybe.
Oh yes, slick it into little fitter.
Right.
Ugh.
For idiots like me,
Yeah.
what is the difference between glycolysis and glycation?
Right, glycolysis is the breakdown of sugar in the metabolic process for energy production, and glycation is the addition of glucose molecules or other sugars to structures, usually protein structures, in a way that causes damage to those structures. Yeah? Ted, what are you doing down there?
Keeping Puffy company.
Oh.
It's very nice of him. Right.
No singing.
I see divisive opinions
Yep.
of including dairy.
Yep.
Do you think it's better to stick to fermented dairy and cheese if you are lactose tolerant?
Nope, I don't think it's better to do that necessarily. No. Dairy is one of those things that's very much plus or minus, individual basis, n equals 1. Is it good for you? Do you do well on it, or do you react badly to it? If you react badly to it, don't eat it. If you don't, and you like eating it, and there are no problems with your affect in the universe, then carry on, soldier.
I'm tired.
Yes, me too.
Pretty strict carnivore, lost 35 pounds in 7 months, but still drink black coffee, 3 a day. First cup of the day I add 1 tablespoon ghee and C8 MCT oil. Is this beneficial or should I stop? I eat too mad, thanks.
Well, the thing with coffee is that it does contain a lot of alkaloids and other plant toxins, including oxalate. It is a recreational drug and not of nutritional benefit in any way. There are no required nutrients in coffee. It's an individual decision as to whether you want to use that recreational drug and how much of it and how often. As for the rest of it, ghee's fine, MCT oil's fine in the amounts you're talking about there, I would say. Too mad is probably not optimal. If you possibly can do OMAD, that's better, I think, for most people under most circumstances at large. And there it is.
Okay,
Coffee's
then.
up to you. Yeah.
Is xylitol fine to use in small quantities instead of sugar? I heard it's good for tooth remineralization. I can't say it. Remineralization. Also, there we go.
Do you want to answer that one?
No?
Okay. Not really. No, artificial sweeteners come with a whole suite of problems of their own. In this house, if we're going to use an artificial sweetener for anything, which is not very much of anything, then it's going to be stevia. Pretty much. That's just what we do.
We do have erythritol as well.
We do have erythritol in the house, yes.
Used to use xylitol, but it's more expensive, harder to get, and toxic for dogs, just in case.
Yes, don't feed it to your dogs.
Xylitol does have some anti-doings properties, so it could be bacterial.
Antibacterial,
and so on.
yes.
Maybe viral too, I'm not really sure. And can have its uses, but just imagine what it does to your gut microbiome as well. Maybe not ideal.
And don't forget...
So there's like pros and cons, I guess.
Yes. Also, don't forget the effect that artificial sweetener can still have on insulin release. Yes.
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 Why are cow farts magically worse? We have had this one.
Yes, I know. It's with Super Chat, that's why we've had it.
Ah.
I was going to say the echo's good in here, isn't it?
It is, and it's starred, that's why.
Because you didn't unstar it. Yes. Never mind.
For idiots
that
like me. What the fuck?
Yeah, that one's not unstarred either. The echo really is good in here, isn't it?
I think. Yeah, it's been posted twice. Don't fucking do that. Don't post your questions twice.
There you go, you've been told.
We have 12 questions in line so far, and I will get to them when we get to them. Can carnivore increase blood platelet count?
It can. It's not one of the usual benefits that's mostly touted. It also would depend very much on the reason why the platelet count may have been depressed in the first place. Who told you that, I guess would be the question. Where did that come from? Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's just say for argument that someone ended up eating a bolus of carbohydrates. Would going for a walk around the time of the blood sugar peak reduce glycative damage?
Possibly to some degree, depending on the intensity of the walking and the duration of the walking and a bunch of other things. Possibly not too. That's one of those yes, no, maybe answers.
Is farm... Okay, maybe it's slightly different. Is farm-raised salmon bad for humans? Certified, whatever this is supposed to mean. I don't know if you know anything about it.
I don't really know much about it, to be honest, and it just seems to me that the best thing to do is go with wild caught if you can. And also, down here in this hemisphere, we're lucky because there's less pollution. Pollution, no singing.
What is 80-20 ground beef and how is it calculated?
That talks about the ratio of fat to protein, and I think it's calculated by so-called units of so-called heat energy. I'm not sure if it's done by that or by mass.
It's usually mass.
By mass, not by heat units. Interesting.
At least other foods are, so I assume that that would be too.
It's not really a thing here. We don't have that. Nobody talks about it here. We don't. I've only ever heard people from the other hemisphere up in the north talking about such things. To us, I mean, it's not even called ground beef here. It's called mince, and mince is mince. Do you want some mince? Yeah, we don't ask what ratios are. We just say, yeah, mince sounds good. I'll have some mince. I'll have a mince pie. Mince and cheese.
Yes. I think when you get like the leaner type of mince, it's, I think it says a ground steak, something like that.
Okay.
As if that is better. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. I got fucking hell, I can't speak to it. Testicular cancer within 6 months of switching to carnivore diet, not overweight. And my family seems to think it's the reason for it. Lol, how can I convince them otherwise?
Well, number one, do you need to convince your family of anything? Which family are we talking about? Extended family or immediate family? I mean, there is no reason whatever to suspect that a carnivore diet is involved in carcinogenesis of any kind. So why they would think that makes no sense whatever. Cancer is also not the sort of disease that develops quickly over a short period of time, unless, of course, you have had that experimental medical intervention that was going around a few years ago that they tried to ram down everybody's throats. The one containing nuclear material, that one. that can absolutely, it seems, be involved in what they're calling turbo cancer. But if you haven't had that, then yeah, it's not something that has developed suddenly. It's something that has been diagnosed at a certain point, sure, but it's probably nothing whatever to do with having changed your diet to carnivore. Why would it be? Fair play?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Juliet says, I didn't mean to post my question twice, sorry, but maybe you got double the super chat. It wasn't yours that was posted twice. It was the other one after you.
Yes. You're not
No.
being held back after class, Juliet, to speak with Ted.
You were just, when we get a super chat, they get starred on their own. I don't have to star them, so I didn't unstar it and I just read it twice.
Yes. So
there you go.
Her Majesty Pim the Infallible. Yes. Good.
Would you happen to have the general recommendation in terms of exercising before or after a meal? Which do you think is better to do?
I think it makes absolutely no difference whatever to speak of for most people under most circumstances. It's one of those 1%er things.
Probably not going to feel great if it's right after a meal though, because most of your blood is going to be digesting shit.
If you mean right before, then I'd stay away from doing that, yes.
Yes.
I got it.
What is your opinion on the all beef lion diet?
It's fine. There's no problems with it.
No?
It's good for some people.
Exactly.
Especially those, it seems, with autoimmune problems, because it removes basically everything that could almost conceivably trigger such things.
Yes. Why do you refer to a calorie as a photon? Is that an oversimplification?
I do not refer to a calorie as a photon at all. That is a misquotation. It's an oversimplified misquotation. What I say is a calorie is a measurement of heat energy. This is true by definition, and by actual physical measurement, observation. The thing that makes a calorie manifest in the universe is a photon, or a number of photons that make up a measurement of heat energy called a calorie. Photons are an excitation of the electromagnetic field. That's what they are. That's what a calorie is, by definition, by measurement. No, it's not an oversimplification. It's a statement of fact as we understand it. I.e., I say as we understand it because the physicists have this thing called particle theory, or field theory, if you like, which they can't actually define. It works mathematically, it makes correct predictions, but they can't actually explain it. They can't even actually objectively prove that we exist at all. So, physics, you failed.
Very good.
Yes.
Is it better to do weight training exercises
Before or after cardio? You shouldn't do cardio.
It's the same fucking thing though.
It's not.
Walking and sprinting. Or is this individual? I see.
You should not do cardio. You should stick with the sprinting, the resistance training.
Walking doesn't really
Walking doesn't
counts.
even count as training. Walking is just incidental activity, incidental exercise. The stuff you should not do is the stuff in the middle of the intensity spectrum. The stuff that they say is good for you and is cardio. Stay the hell out of there. Yeah.
Okay, is tap water safe to drink?
Well, is everybody's water in the world the same? No, of course not. Some people's tap water is perfectly safe to drink. Others I wouldn't touch with a barge pole.
Okay. How can I lower my uric acid 9 on carnivore diet?
Well, why would you want to do that?
Because gout.
Have you got gout? If so, let's deal with the gout. Never mind the uric acid concentration, because it is what it is. And when you eat meat, you're going to have an elevated level of... It's actually not uric acid, it's urate, if you want to be accurate, which is an important thing. Urate is what you've got. It's not a problem. It's actually an antioxidant, and it's good stuff to have. If you've got gout, that's a separate issue, and that's actually an inflammatory problem. So we deal with inflammation, not the urate. How's that? Is she fucking around? You always fuck around. You fuck around too much.
Right. Wild animals seem to be able to tolerate unclean water. Would humans be able to do this too? Is it because of higher stomach pH that we cannot do this nowadays?
Well, it's very individual as to whether water is going to be a problem for a person or not, and any given amount of water, and it depends what's in that water. And yes, I think that what someone has been doing chronically for a while would tend to have an effect on how they might cope to a one-off consuming of some bad water, shall we say. Yes.
We're not drinking that because someone would have to be responsible for anyone who got sick.
And no, the pH of your stomach has very, very little to do with it.
Okay.
Because if you drink some water and that has an effect over your stomach pH for a very short period of time, actually what happens is your body re-equilibrates and resets the pH to where it should be very quickly. So it's one of the many reasons why drinking alkaline water will not have any effect, will not be of use or value. It's ridiculous, farcical, nonsensical, and anti-scientific in the extreme. Sorry, just the facts here.
Okay.
And the odd swear word, like fuck.
Right.
Usually from her. Shh. It's true though, isn't it?
Let me read now.
Go on in.
My blood tests show high iron and ferritin levels, but my hair analysis shows deficiency. What tests are best? How much red meat should one consume per week for adequate levels? Thanks.
Okay, the best test is no test at all. No test. None. Unless you have symptomology which would suggest that you have a specific pathology and you undertake that test in order to confirm or refute that potential diagnosis. Routine testing, waste of time. Don't do it. How much meat should you eat? Well, it's 2 grams, give or take, of protein per lean kilo of body mass per day, preferably in one meal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how much.
Good.
Yep, good-o.
What is your baseline safety diet that you would recommend as an elimination diet?
An elimination diet, if I was going to suggest one to a person, well, obviously they'd start with lion, because that's an elimination diet. And then we would add things in, if people want to add things in, on a 2-weekly basis, one thing at once, until we find out what the problem is, because that's the usual reason for doing an elimination diet. Yes.
I have been eating 93% ground beef 3 days and boneless, skinless chicken breast 4 days with bacon when I can afford it. What are your thoughts, please? Good or bad?
That sounds fine to me.
Yes.
Carry on, soldier. Eat meat, drink salt and water, rest and repeat. Try and base your diet around the large ruminant red meats and have the white meats and non-ruminant meats as a much less frequent part of your diet if that's available to you and affordable to you. Otherwise, don't worry about it. A carnivore diet is still vastly better, even if it's not quite correctly formulated, than any omnivorous or plant-based diet by a long way. Still.
Right. Is Cerol effective for eczema?
Well, we're not allowed to make any therapeutic claims of any kind. However, in theory, absolutely, the Cerol product can and has been shown on many occasions to have huge impacts on people's skin affect, skin conditions, and any number of other things relating to inflammation or wear and tear on the body, because that's what the product does. It assists with renewal, repair, anti-inflammatory effect, all of that. Get into it. And while you're at it, I'm told that the actual physical stock in hand for hardcore carnivore will be happening this week. And your pre-orders will be going out, the actual product. So get into it and get ordering hardcore carnivore formulation Stem Enhance Ultra. Those of you in The Australian and New Zealand market, that is. The rest of you have to wait until the Australian and New Zealand marketplace proves that they want the stuff. Because it's a bit of market research from the company. They wouldn't give me an international release. They just said, okay, prove it to us. So, don't make me look a fool. Go and order the stuff in bulk.
You do that yourself.
I will too.
You make yourself look like a fool.
Oh, but yes.
Don't need help with that.
You're here to help, aren't you?
Yes.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Carry on, soldier.
So, Feral Grandma says...
Yes.
Cereal Stem Enhanced Ultra has been part of my life over the same period of time that my eczema finally healed. Carnivore diet and following Professor Buckey have been part of the same time.
Awesome. That's awesome, Feral Grandma. Love it.
Love it.
Great story. Awesome testimonial.
Yes.
True dat.
Okay, what are the main reasons why people should avoid sugar-free sodas? Is it mostly the insulin release?
It's partly that. It's partly the problems associated with artificial sweeteners. I don't think soda is a great idea, whether it's sweetened with sugar or anything else or not, actually. Like soda water. I don't think that's a good idea either as something that you would do often.
And the other shit that is in there.
The shit.
And supporting that industry. It's also a good reason to not do it.
Is it fucking hot in here?
No.
No, okay, it's just me. I'm having menopause.
Apparently.
Clearly. I'm having a hot flush.
What is your opinion on the hypothesis that cancer is not a disease, rather it's a survival mechanism?
That sounds ridiculous. Do you want to elaborate? A survival mechanism? How can a disease that kills a lot of people be a survival mechanism? Do flesh that out for us. That sounds fascinating and ridiculous.
Do you think it would be feasible to raise the Titanic?
No, I don't.
I guess this should be allulose.
Yeah.
Is this of any use or good?
The jury is out. It's an interesting area. It's a fascinating prospect in terms of what it purports to be good for, i.e. that it is a sugar that your body will not metabolize. It will pass through you unchanged. It will not affect your blood glucose. It will not cause an insulin spike, they say, blah, 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 blah. But then there are others' voices crying out saying, oh yes, but there might be some problems associated with taking it in. So I'm going to wait a bit and see what comes out in the literature. The literature.
Okay.
Just making sure you heard. No singing.
Will you do a response reaction to Paul Sal, I don't know, claims that fruit juice is healthy, backed by studies on Jesse Chapper's channel?
I have already responded to Paul Salad, I don't know, many times on the falsehoods, ridiculousness, incompetence, Dunning-Kruger and arrogance of everything he has to say, basically, about everything. The boy is a waste of skin. He's a waste of perfectly good oxygen. He's a waste of space. He has nothing of value to add to society. And frankly, he should just sit down and shut the fuck up permanently. He has left the building completely. And I wish he would completely leave the social media. He won't, of course, because he makes too much money out of it. And too many people give him the sort of attention that he doesn't deserve in order for him to make too much money doing it. Frankly.
Paul Spadino.
Spadino, okay.
That is the best question. Is mixing sucrose and canola oil healthy?
No, it isn't. Why would you do that? It also sounds revolting.
Yes.
God.
Where were we?
Canola oil is one of the things you should absolutely avoid at all costs, by the way.
I think that was not a serious one.
Well, I know, but we have to take every question seriously, don't we?
Okay.
Yes.
We are having issues with the farm salmon in New Zealand. What you see at the supermarket is still good, okay quality. The fish that are not of acceptable standard for human consumption become pet food. So there you go.
Okay, so are you in the know, Nunnis, in that one? I guess you are, because you do work in that industry, so you would,
yes.
Of course. Yeah, okay. So our fish, our farmed fish in New Zealand is okay, according to Nunnis. There you go.
There you go.
Cheers, man.
Are you familiar with Dr. Sean O'Mara's work? He advocates maximal intensity exercise only along with carnivore as it removes visceral fat. Your thoughts?
I agree with him entirely on that, yes. He is correct.
So, what are your thoughts on NAC? Is it safe to take long term?
Well, show me some studies that look at long-term safety of taking NAC. I don't know. Do you know? Have you seen any long-term safety studies on the stuff?
I have not.
No. Don't know.
Don't know.
Don't know.
I have a criminal record. Could you please let me into Pimbatia anyway, since I am finally able to bench press 410 pounds?
Look, anyone that wants to come and visit us here in Pimbatia and do some work around the place and enjoy some hospitality while you're here, and we'll show you the sights around these parts of the world. It's a beautiful part of the world. Yeah, but look, absolutely apply in writing via the email account, which is winding its way across the bottom of the screen as I speak.
But hurry the fuck up, because summer is quickly...
Waning.
Yeah.
Not raining, waning.
It will soon, so if you want to come here when it's actually nice to be here, then hurry the fuck up.
Yes, yes.
And make your fucking decisions.
Yes. Make your decisions, book your tickets, tell us you're coming, and we'll put you up and put you to work and stuff. Don't hit that one.
Yes.
That was the end stream button that you moused over there for a minute.
Yes.
And would be finished.
What a shame.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yep. And, you know, look, on a case-by-case basis, we'll talk to you about whatever it is that we need to know about you and your history, and Ted will make a decision, really.
Okay. Can electrolytes be consumed willy-nilly on this type of diet, or is there a Goldilocks zone?
There's nothing that you can consume willy-nilly. All things have an appropriate amount of intake, including water, oxygen, and food of all different kinds. And when I say food, I mean actual food, not non-food, because the amount of that you should take in is none. At the end of the day, if your body is healthy and otherwise functioning normally, if you take in too many electrolytes, your body will tend to flush those out, of course. However, like anything, if you push your homeostatic mechanism to its breaking point, it will break, just like any other system, really.
Okay. Are you two planning on coming to Hack Your Health in November 2025? It's in Florida, Tampa.
No, we were not planning that. No.
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 We'll stay in Pimbatia.
We will stay in Pimbatia. Yes.
I get a lot of Barbara O'Neill YouTube recommendations. Some things seem reasonable, but some are out there. Your thoughts on her?
I have never heard of Barbara O'Neill.
Oh, I get a lot of her videos too.
And what does she say about what?
She says all sorts of things.
Right.
I understand the question, because she says some really clever things, and then she says things that you're like, what? Where did you get that from?
Yeah.
So I do understand the question.
Dumbass says what? Okay. Don't know. Never heard of her. Sorry. I'm too busy doing my own thing.
Yeah, things like, I'm just going to make shit up. She has not said this, just to make sure. If you hover your rubber glove over your food, you will get better vibrations from it.
Oh, that kind of nonsense. Okay. Right.
I don't know if she's actually saying that, but things of that kind of thing that I don't understand where it comes from. Okay. What is the physiological basis for the benefits of grounding? I notice a difference when I sleep with a grounding mat, but I have no idea how it works.
Okay. So, in terms of the physiological basis, number one, we evolved grounded to the earth. We did not evolve separated from the earth electrically. We've only done that to ourselves in the last 150 years or so. So, it would be a more natural state of being. Number two, grounding immediately thins the blood to 1/3 of the effective viscosity that it was before you grounded. So, that's a good thing in terms of cardiovascular challenge, shall we say. Aberrant cortisol profiles seem to normalize after a short period of grounding, so that's handy, perhaps. Wound healing seems expedited, so that's a good thing, probably. There's a bunch of other things as well. If you look at a video of mine on my channel, it's one of my in 5 minutes or less videos that talks about grounding and earthing. And I do, look, here's a study, and here's another one, and here's another one, in classic Mike the Vegan style, without actually really talking about them or analysing them. But I just put them up there so that you can go and read them for yourselves. Yes.
Apparently, here's someone who knows something about it. Barbara is plant-based and 7-day Adventist.
Right, well then, Barbara is an absolute fucking imbecile then.
And a tinfoil.
And a tinfoil
woman,
hat wearer.
probably.
Not that there's anything wrong with tinfoil hats, it's all the fashion these days.
No, we are tinfoils.
Are we?
We've had them
Yes.
before.
Yes, we did.
So
We wore
must
them on
be.
a live stream once just to make the point, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Did it help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you explain why low calcium, low manganese or magnesium?
Magnesium, I think.
Manganesium
hmm
and low iodine is not a concern on 100% carnivore.
Well, show me someone on 100% carnivore that has a bona fide, diagnosable shortage, symptomology as well of such a shortage, and we'll be interested to hear about it.
There might be some though.
They might, but I haven't heard of them. Have you?
Well, I've heard of people actually being treated for it, but whether that's, I mean, it also depends on how long you've been carnivore, probably.
Yes. And if you took a bunch of people who genuinely eat a carnivore diet and a bunch of people who genuinely don't, and you look at the incidence of diagnosable, symptomological, actual shortage of any of those things, calcium, magnesium, or iodine,
Magnesium.
or iodine, and see whether the incidence is increased in one group or the other, then I'll be interested to know about it. But I've never heard of such a thing. It's not an issue because it doesn't seem to be an issue. I guess it's one of those self-serving questions and answers.
Do you have 2 children? Where did you get that from? Unless you count the dogs. We have 2 dogs.
We have 2 dogs.
Dog children. Could you explain why low... Okay.
Righto,
Wow.
good.
Fuck's sake. How could I... Okay. According to Jill Carvalho, isometric exercises are best for lowering blood pressure based on a network meta-analysis. Opinions?
Gil Carvalho is wrong about this as much as he's wrong about just about everything else that comes out of his rancid, ignorant, ridiculous gob. No, it's just simply not correct. And I would need to see the study that he's talking about to be able to point to what's wrong with it, but I suggest that I could probably find what's wrong with it within seconds, because it's just false. If anything, isometric exercises will cause the exact opposite to occur, at least acutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you possibly have Tucker Goodrich on to discuss the topic of seed oils and chronic metabolic disease?
But look, anything's possible in the future, who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard of some doing a 10-to-1 fat protein day or days instead of fasting and getting similar results. Could this really work? What are the mechanisms?
Work for what?
I assume losing weight. Yes, that's a fat fast probably. It works, usually,
Okay.
for most people. But there is a limit to how much you're actually eating as well.
And that's probably the mechanism, because let's not talk about weight, one's fatness is a direct result of the balance between mass in and mass out. So if you're eating 10-to-1 fat to protein, the satiety signaling on that is very strong, so it's likely that you will consume less food mass overall.
And even if you could eat more fat, you're going to get the shits. Even if you're quite good at digesting fat, when there's just fat pretty much going in.
Indeed.
I started eating my meat raw about a year ago. I got sick the first week and 2 months after, but I have had no problems for 10 months now. Did my body get used to it? What changed?
Who knows? Great story. More emphasis on the dragons next time, please.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Don't forget to leave a like, peoples.
Indeed.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yes.
Do we need supplemental magnesium?
No, not usually.
How are the hardcore carnivores rule sales waiting patiently in USA?
Yes, you will have to wait a little bit more patiently because we've had 1 or 2 delays in the actual release. We are still on pre-order status until I'm told imminently, in the next few days, there will be actual stock in the office ready to send out to New Zealand and Australian customers. And I think we'll gauge the sales level once we've actually got physical stock in hand that we can actually genuinely send out to people rather than just taking pre-orders. Because I think if you say pre-order, people are less apt or likely to
hello,
order.
Dog.
Hmm?
You miss me? Come here.
Oh, it's Professor Snoozy. Are you going to answer some questions? Oh yeah. Are you going to answer some questions? Oh.
She's been
you're the
sleeping
good one.
upstairs.
You're the good one. Yes, you're the good one. And where's the other one? She's off being the other one. Right, good.
Just
Eh?
laying there on the curtain.
My God.
Don't harass her.
No singing.
Oh, baby.
Oh, she has to put up with me all the time.
She's not the only one.
Uh,
Magnesium glycinate versus magnesium L-threonate for nightmare, restless leg syndrome, cramps, and general better night sleep. What is the better option? Thanks.
no idea if one is better than the other, and it's very individual. I have found very effective for 99.9% of people is to just say, look, just put Epsom salt in a spray bottle with some water and spray it on your skin. That works. Any of this other technical stuff, well, show me some studies that we can look at, and I'll probably tell you what's wrong with them.
Why don't you try each?
Yes,
For
do an
yourself.
N equals 1. See what you think.
Is it absolutely safe to raise children on meat-only diet right after they stop breastfeeding?
Yes, yes it is, so long as you include some fat. Meat and fat. Or meat and associated fat. Potentially additional fat too. Absolutely safe, yes.
What would you be feeding your chickens? Asking for Fat Lila and the Lucky Cluckers.
Well, Pim, tell us what you are indeed already feeding the chickens.
Chickens are feeding themselves plums.
They're
That's what
climbing
they
the
do.
fucking plum trees and eating the plums.
I was admiring the Muscovy ducks jumping for plums yesterday when a half-eaten plum fell down right in front of me, and I look up and there's a bloody chicken up there pecking away. But we do feed them some grains. They're still growing, so a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the evening, but mostly we just let them find their own shit.
Yes, and you're fermenting the grains. Tell us about that.
Yes, I ferment them in whey that is left over from me making goat cheese.
Goat cheese, roly-poly,
So
goat
that's what they
cheese.
get. Yeah,
Good.
I'm trying to use I will try to use as little as possible when they are grown, the ones that we're keeping for breeding and such, but we'll see how it affects their egg production, etc. if we want eggs. I'm not too bothered with chicken eggs. I'm trying to get duck eggs if we can keep them alive.
Harry Louse is in the house.
Very good.
Good to see you, Harry.
Morning, Harry.
Are you live streaming later? If so, what time? Tell us all about it.
Right, so why do carnivores need less sleep?
Do they? Show me some evidence that is so. Have you found that you need less sleep on carnivore? That might be an individual thing. Well, all sorts of reasons that might be happening. Possibly it's around the anti-inflammatory effects of the carnivore diet, meaning that your sleep is more effective and you need less of it. Who knows? I don't know that carnivores do need less sleep across the board on average. Right.
Okay. My apolipoprotein B went up 1.0 after being 8 months on carnivore. Is this a concern? HDL and triglycerides are within range. Thank you for helping out for us that are a bit lost.
Yes, it seems you are a bit lost. All of your lipoproteins are exactly what they ought to be. All of them are under the control of your gene set. That gene set being the absolute peak and pinnacle of evolution, the entire history of evolution. You are the peak of evolution to this point. Your genes really know what they're doing. They are controlling all of your lipoprotein levels absolutely appropriately. You do not need to ever test them, let alone worry about them at all. You are wasting your time. There is no information to be derived from testing your lipoproteins of any kind at any time ever. How's that? Good.
Well, my olfactories are offended by smelly dog smell.
Oh, smelly dog
She
smell.
needs a bath.
You need a bath. Will Daddy give you a bath afterwards? Will he? Or should we throw you in the swimming pool?
That's not going to help.
Oh.
Would you happen to have a recommended number of sets in weight training for general health and well-being?
There's no such thing as general health and well-being. All training is specific, including exercise training. I do suggest, however, in terms of weight training, that the best number of sets is 2 working sets. And the number of reps and the relative percentage of 1 RM would depend on what your training goals are. How's that?
Do you agree with Dr. Chafee that fasting is not necessary on carnivore?
For most people, under most circumstances, yes. That is correct. Not necessary.
What do you think of Pete's claim that muscle meat is inflammatory because of unbalanced tryptophan and cysteine, I guess, and you should always balance with glycine?
Almost everything that I ever heard Ray Pete say that I could comprehend at all, because his speech was so slurred in the last part of his life that he was completely incomprehensible anyway. But everything I have ever heard him say on every topic was fundamentally false from the ground up. I do not agree with anything Ray Pete had to say on any topic ever. How's that?
We have missed a super sticker that doesn't show up.
Super sticker, no singing.
Just a super sticker. Thank you for
the super sticker.
Okay. Would you endorse a ketogenic spam and pickles diet as snake diet Cole Robinson used to?
No, I would not. I would also not recommend Cole Robinson as a good source of information on any topic whatever. Cole Robinson is an absolute fucking imbecile. What's next?
Isn't the iron-copper ratio a little bit screwed if you only eat muscle meat and no liver? Isn't it way too much iron compared to copper?
No, it isn't. What's next?
After a hard day's labor, I like to do 1 hour of sun gazing to solidify my hormone production and natural light rhythm. Would anything else be recommended for this?
What kind of sun gazing are we talking about here? Because depending on what you're talking about here, I might well be suggesting you don't fucking do anything of the sort, actually. Be a bit more explicit, folks, about what it is you're asking. Vad nostum in prinsessa?
Cereal products aren't super well known but still seem to have promising results. Are there any other products on the market that are less known that you know of that you are fond of?
I only have a relationship with cereal products. They are the only products that I have tested myself for more than 15 years and stand absolutely behind. So if you mean other stem cell products, I would say absolutely not. If you mean other products in general, most of them are entirely unnecessary and or entirely without established benefits. No live stream today from Harry Laus.
Yes.
Goodness gracious, Harry. That's a poor effort, son. Really is.
What about the peptides? God.
Yes, okay, fair play. There are 1 or 2 peptides I have suggested to people from time to time, like BPC157 for gut issues, soft tissue injury healing. That can be useful
Stinky monkey.
on a case-by-case basis. Yes, good point. Well remembered. That's really about the only other one. Sometimes I talk to people about turkey tail mushroom extract, depending on their particular needs.
I think that's enough dog time.
Yes. And if anyone's interested in what turkey tail mushroom extract might be good for, it seems to increase the efficacy of the drugs that they give to cancer patients, chemo. And also seems to make the chemo more tolerable.
And what if you're not doing chemo?
Then I wouldn't suggest turkey tail, because that's what it's good for.
Right.
Yes.
What's the best way to increase my height? I'm 30 years old and 5'5". Looked into surgery, but also heard you can use natural growth hormone in cow's milk.
How old are you? 30. Okay, no, your epiphyseal growth plates will be fused by now. Your height will be what it is. You won't be able to change that with anything nutritional at this point. I wouldn't try and change your height surgically either.
God.
I wouldn't
Why would
do
you
that.
subject yourself to such trauma?
Exactly.
And if you get complications from that, you're going to regret that your whole fucking life.
Yes.
Are the Adventists in Yorba Linda, California, who claim to be vegetarians living longer than the average human?
There is some suggestion around there being some longevity in that particular population. It's a pretty noisy signal, data-wise. There are a lot of confounds, a huge number of confounds. I'm not convinced remotely that we could say that these people genuinely do demonstrably live longer than the average person, whatever the hell that means.
Okie dokie.
If you're talking about blue zones in general, they're an absolute have. Complete fucking nonsense. For a start, none of the blue zones are vegan. None of them. The vegans claim they are. They're not. Right.
Minor meniscus tear impacting intensity of exercise. Is it possible, likely to return to a good exercise intensity without surgery by eating carnivore over time?
It's not impossible. However, I would suggest that you'd be an absolute candidate for Sorul products. And possibly peptide BPC157, Bravo Poly Charlie, that is. Body protective compound is what that stands for. Number 157. 13 amino acids in a chain is what that is. It's a dangerous experimental not for human use peptide, and it's so dangerous and experimental and not so much not for human use that you can order it up and buy it from Amazon UK last time I checked.
Thoughts on blood sausage?
I love it. I love it. The only problem with it is grains that they usually put in it.
Speaking of which, if someone has a really good carnivore recipe for blood pudding or blood sausage or whatever, but blood pudding, please send it to me or to him, and he can forward it to me.
Yes.
Just for ease of email address, since it's on the screen right now.
Yes.
There you go.
There it is. I love my blood sausage. Me.
Regarding orange plant foods, oranges, carrots, etc., do you think beta-carotene is a plant toxin to keep us away from eating these plants?
Well, beta-carotene is pro-retinol. It's a precursor to retinol. The human body actually doesn't convert much beta-carotene into retinol. Is it a toxin? Potentially, because, well, retinol can be toxic, like anything, if you have too much of it. So, yes, no, and maybe. Master Chief, late. Report to Ted afterwards. Indeed, dusters and other administrative corrections. I'm still waiting to hear from you, Dave, a bit. Keep me up to date with those issues that are ongoing. And if I can help, I will help. I don't know if I can, but I will do absolutely everything I can do to help. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you agree with Dr. Baker that grass-fed versus grain-fed makes no difference?
I don't think Dr. Baker says no difference. And I don't say no difference either. I just say the difference is probably meaningless. It's not an important thing. It's one of those 1%er things, I think.
He says, yes, waiting for the MRI results, then I'll schedule myself in.
Yep, okay, good, thanks, mate.
Are the sweet potatoes an okay addition?
Well, depends on how many you have, how often, etc. And addition to what? What is your diet already? Yes.
Good. Rooney.
Good.
I like to drink raw blood at night to improve my sleep. Is it better to warm to imitate fresh blood or keep it cool before sleep?
Well, I don't drink any blood at all, so I've got no fucking idea. You do you.
Funny.
Yeah.
Right. Is quantum biology a reputable field or is it crackpottery?
Well, it depends on who's saying what, actually, because, well, you take the example of Jack Kruse. Half of what he says is robust, valid, and scientifically correct, and the other half is fantasy, frankly. The field itself is as reputable as any field, so long as people who comment in that field are competent to do so and are not misleading people. And I'm not saying that Jack is misleading anybody. Jack does like to obfuscate, though. His whole technique is to speak above people's heads so that they can't challenge him. However, those of us that do know some quantum physics can spot the 50% that is bullshit straight away. Yeah.
Best way to cook ground beef and steak?
With some heat of some kind.
Yes.
This is not.
And again, best for what?
Yes, and this is not a cooking channel.
Any proven life extension methods besides calorie restriction, and does it even work in humans?
Okay, there is no way to restrict calories. Calories cannot be restricted because calories cannot be consumed. It is a physical impossibility. Calories are units of heat energy. They are made manifest as photons, photons being an excitation in the electromagnetic field, the electromagnetic field having no mass, no actual existence of any kind. Energy is a construct, is what we're telling you. Basically, it's a mathematical construct. So you can't restrict these things. If you restrict the mass of food intaken, at least in lab animals, there seems to be an extension of the lifespan, which wouldn't be surprising because the biological rate at which the animal lives slows down in order to save the so-called energy. Really? Whether that works in humans or not is not established because you can't experiment on humans to find out. It's likely, but we can't prove it. Right. Good. Thanks for the question.
Do you remember the name of the isotope study about 80% meat and 20% tubers? I can't seem to find it anymore. Also, I'm looking for an isotope study where hippos were the most consumed animals.
Oh, God. I no longer watch the peer-reviewed publications in any given area and keep a database of papers, titles, where they're published, etc. You're going to have to use your search skills, folks. No, I don't remember.
God. Can I go to sleep now?
After this, you can.
Cheers. Is there a way you know of to make your jaw wider without surgery? 16-year-old.
Yes, you could chew a rubber ball all day, every day. But why the hell would you?
Because he wants a wide jaw.
Okay. Well, I mean, I want a 9-foot penis.
Do you?
Not really, because it would be fucking useless, wouldn't it? Let's say 9-inch penis instead. Well, I wasn't given the genes for that, so why would I then try and... Okay. I'm sure you're very handsome, or beautiful, or beautiful.
I'm beautiful. I kind of given up on life, just can't be bothered anymore. Carnivore diet didn't help this, unfortunately. What's the remedy?
I think you should get some help and talk to somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds very like depression.
Yes, make sure that you talk to somebody professional this week, please. Don't let that just carry on. That's not a good thing at all. Life is awesome. And, you know, you too can get to a point where you feel happy about life. It is possible.
Yes.
99 times out of 100, these kind of feelings are an imbalance of some chemicals or others. And, you know, there are interventions available which can be of assistance. And when I say talk to someone, I don't necessarily mean someone involved in allopathic medicine. You may choose that route if you want to, but that wouldn't be the route I would suggest first up, myself. Because the drugs that they use are not that propitious, I think.
And then you can come and visit Pimbatia. and enjoy how lovely it is here.
It is lovely.
It is.
Yes. What's next?
What are your thoughts on MCT oil? Is it worth using?
It's fine. As part of your diet, I wouldn't base your diet on it. It can be useful in certain circumstances. Yep, sure. I have no problem with it.
But again, is there a reason for you to use it?
Exactly.
Like, do you need to produce more ketones for some reason? Or what is the reason that you want to use it? Because for most people, it's probably just a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're trying to achieve something specific.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Why is the body resistant to adding more muscle if it's supposed to be healthy, or is it not?
Whose body is resistant to adding more muscle? And more than what?
Mm.
Try again, Daniel. Ask a question that makes sense, please.
Adult kid has MTHFR gene mutation, is mostly ketovore. I'd like to see what would happen with Cerol. Is on L-methyl folate, but any other suggestions to help? Won't give up dairy.
Yes, I have 5 health hacks that the average person, and even the person that's not average, would probably benefit from. Do a search on my channel for 5 health hacks you need to know about, and do all 5. And yes, Cerol is one of those 5. And I would suggest it, absolutely. Yes.
She's snoring.
Snoring dog. Funny.
What do you think is the reason behind the different composition of triglycerides from de novo and ex novo lipogenesis? Could be the hyperglycemic environment the discriminating factor?
It is possible, yes. Among other models that may also be at play.
Rightio. I frequently walk up a flight of stairs throughout the day. Is this considered to be high intensity exercise?
Depends on how quickly you do it and your individual fitness level as to whether it's high intensity relative to your maximum volitional output at any given time or not.
And how many steps are there?
Yes.
If it's 3 and you're running up
5,
every
sir.
time, then it probably won't make a difference.
1, 2, 5. Good.
Are fruits, vegetables, potatoes a lot different today than when my mother grew them in Ukraine 30 years ago? I guess worse to eat today, or there wasn't much a difference at all.
Don't really know about the level of drift in the genes and makeup of such things over the last 30 years. I doubt that it's huge.
The question is also, where are you?
Yeah.
And is like some types, I guess, have been more modified than others. Are you growing your own, or are you buying at the supermarket? Are they heirlooms, or are they not? And are you still in Ukraine, or are you in America? Probably makes a big difference. If applicable, what other careers did you consider before getting into human nutrition and physiology?
Well, I started my first undergraduate degree at the age of 27. Having up to that stage, I left school as an 18-year-old, and straight out of school I started a generic BS and quit in the first semester because it wasn't for me at that stage of my life. Then I went and worked night shift in a service station for a bit, did some day shift in the service station for a bit, because then I started playing in rock bands at night time for 7 or 8 years. I did that. That was about all I did before I did my first actual degree that I finished and got into the field that I got into at that stage. So there was no real career before that, it was just jobs that I had. Not that there's anything wrong with having a job, that's not a career at all. It's fine. If that's where you're at, that's great. But you too could be a late bloomer like I was.
Okay.
Who knows?
How on earth did you end up with this kiwi pim? We already told that story, haven't we?
Yeah.
Big mistake, big mistake.
Was it? I think it ended up pretty well for you though, didn't it? Really?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Is glycation and the Maillard reaction one and the same, related or different?
The Maillard reaction is the one that's involved in the glycation process. So yes, they're one and the same.
I have a cut of beef, rump heart, in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it is suitable for pan skillet searing, or will it just be chewy and unenjoyable? Any recoms on how to cook it?
She's the cook here.
Is it rump or is it heart? But you can probably fry both in a skillet. Shouldn't be a
I
problem.
wonder if rump heart is part of the rump.
I'm not really sure.
The middle part, rather than rump cap,
Yeah.
or which is called picanha, of course.
No, rump is fine.
Yep.
We have eaten it a lot, not usually having a problem. Sometimes we get a worse cut than other times, but...
The question about how did Pim meet me, I was a lecturer in a class that she was sitting in one day in the UK, and I spoke about the fallacies around cholesterol and heart disease, and Pim was already of that opinion, and ergo decided immediately that she was going to marry me, and told her colleagues.
And then
sitting next
changed
to
my
her,
mind. I don't want to be married.
Yeah,
to
I
them.
don't. The only problem was, of course, I was already married at the time. That's also another story for another day.
Yes.
I am no longer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have tips on how to optimize testosterone levels naturally? Thanks for the super chat, by the way.
Yes.
I got rudely interrupted. Mine is currently at 600, hoping to bring it up to 800 to help with bodybuilding.
Okay. The optimal level of testosterone is what your body decides it ought to be. It's under the control of your gene set. Those genes being the absolute peak of evolution, those genes knowing exactly what they are doing. It can be helpful in terms of things like bodybuilding to increase one's T, but is that a good idea? I think not. I don't think you should do that. Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is eating a piece of cake only in one's birthday once a year not much of a big deal?
I don't think it's a big deal, no.
No, you'll probably survive that.
Yes.
Are there any chronic diseases that a carnivore diet can't heal at all, even when detected early?
What sort of chronic diseases?
Can you think of any?
Well, I guess heart disease is a chronic disease. And to say that the carnivore diet heals that might be a bit strong.
I think the carnivore diet is an anti-inflammatory diet, which will help you achieve better health in general, because it's not making you sicker.
Yeah. I mean, chronic just means an ongoing, long-lasting thing. So let's say you have a genetic disorder of some kind. Well, your diet's not going to affect that, is it? It might ameliorate symptomology somewhat, but it's not going to change your gene set that's faulty. Some people have faulty genes, by the way. When I say your genes know what they're doing and your genes are perfect, I mean in general, on average. Yes, there are people whose genes are faulty. Yes. All my comments are based at the middle of the bell-shaped curve. That's where I'm aiming. Yeah. Unless the question asks me to do something specifically different from that.
Furrow Grammar says, petting the sheep and laughing at chickens and ducks is probably good for mental health. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And or, you know, if you're around here, you can point and laugh at me quite often.
Except when you find your ducks fucking butchered in the garden by some creature. That's not good for mental health.
No, that wasn't nice.
The reason why I asked the best way to cook ground beef and steak is because I read that cooking meat on high heat causes ages and oxidation in meat, or is that rubbish?
It does cause those things, but do those things cause a problem? It depends on all sorts of other factors that play into any one given person's hard outcomes over a lifetime.
Oh, okay.
Ah, invisible penis. Invisible penis. Do do do. No singing.
Trying to get rid of this star, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the best way to detox from mold exposure?
Talk to someone that's an expert in that field. I don't know.
I know Annabelle did it with MMS.
Yes, she said she was going to be here today. I haven't seen her in the chat. Where are you, Annabelle? Poor effort.
Poor effort.
Yeah.
So that could be one thing to do, but there are probably many, many more things that you can do.
Yeah.
And she will probably let you know what you did.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on sun damage being the major cause of skin damage? Is this bollocks? Can carnivore help largely prevent skin damage from the sun?
Like anything, sun exposure has an optimum level. It's an inverted U or N-shaped curve, if you like. There's such a thing as too much sun, and there's such a thing as not enough. Pretty much. And there seems to be some strong anecdotes, at least in parts of the world where UV is not extreme, like it is down here, that eating carnivore diet tends to lead people to be less likely to get sunburned. A lot of people say, you can't get sunburned if you're a carnivore. That's false. Yes, you can. I did it yesterday. That's why my face is all red, because I got too much sun on it yesterday. Okay?
You're more red when you're Nick. Right? If you are eating a carnivore diet, is there still benefit to taking this raw active product for anti-inflammatory benefits?
Absolutely yes, without any question at all. Without any hesitation, hell yes. Yep.
My libido crashed a month ago, so I did priming for 2 weeks, which seemed to sort it out. What's the best way to prevent libido going again? Was I not eating enough? Thank you.
Okay, again, you're talking to the wrong person on that. My libido never goes away. Ever. I'm insatiable, basically. Dr. Kiltz would be the best person to talk to. That's his area of expertise.
Apparently my greys are coming in really nicely.
Yeah, your grey-blue.
Yes.
Your granny wash.
It's a combination of grey and bleached and dyed.
Shell, honey bunny.
Yes. I lost my voice.
You
But
lost your
it's okay, because we have no more questions. That was that.
Right, no more questions?
Yes.
Good.
No more questions.
No more questions. Well, do you know that? I can't speak either today.
Good. I'm not the only one then.
Do you know what that means?
Fucking singing and shit.
Fucking singing and shit. That's what it means. It does. It means we sing the national anthem of the independent nation, sovereign nation that is, of Pimbatia. And the national anthem goes a little bit something like this. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. I think they got it, Ted. Alright, see you next time and stuff. Yeah.